If you found this video, that means you're an RC crawler enthusiast, and you're probably interested in some high clearance axles. Today, I am reviewing the RC four-wheel drive leverage high clearance front and rear axles. Bought them back in November. They were back ordered for quite some time. Finally got them in February of 2019. Got a chance to install them actually about a week and a half ago. It's the time of this recording is, I want to say beginning of May 2019, and took them out for a first trial run. And before I bought these things, I went out to YouTube, kind of like you're doing right now, and I looked for a video with somebody that would review the product, because I really wanted to, they look great, they look totally quality, but I wanted to get some feedback on how do they perform, and over time, how do they hold up. What I found on YouTube were a lot of videos about unboxing and how sexy it is, and listen, I admit, the thing is beautiful. Laser etched in the back, the CNC, the milling of the metal and the housing itself is freaking gorgeous. No doubt about it, okay? So it looks very quality on the outside. Here's where the rub is, okay? I've got plenty of pictures to show you too, by the way. So the rub for me is that it just didn't hold up. In fact, I got it installed like you should with any pre-made axle, or even making your own axles, right? You check to make sure you're all greased up and lubed up and everything. And listen, they came great from RC four-wheel drive. They were all greased up. Again, gave them a second over just to make sure, tightened everything up, did some Loctite on metal screws just to make sure. And hey, honestly, I thought these things were going to be, I don't want to say bomb-proof, but I thought they'd be pretty darn durable. Okay, so here's the thing. Took them out for a test run behind my house, okay? Over some little river rock, the kind of rock you'd have in a side yard of a house or a backyard, for example. Nothing too aggressive. After about 10 minutes, the axle snapped. Not the housing, but the actual axle rod inside. Now, obviously, when I lubed them up, I kind of saw the design of how it works, and it is a proprietary rod, and I understand that. Here's the problem, though. I found that, and this is the interesting part, I think there's a bit of a defect in how they produce this product. And the reason I say that is there is a little notch at the end of the rod where it goes into the bevel gear. And as you can see right here in this picture, that little notch goes 360 degrees all the way around. Now, what normally goes in there is a C-clip. Now, here's a quick shot of what that looks like assembled. You can see the C-clip there, and that little notch is made so that C-clip can really stay in place, and that just helps keep everything in place. Here's the problem, I think, or the design flaw. Maybe not a design flaw, but a design oversight. Again, RC four-wheel drive makes great stuff. Believe me, I've used a bunch of their stuff. This, however, is a bit of a design flaw. Check this out. You can see on the rod itself that my rod actually snapped right where the C-clip and right where that notch is in the actual rod itself. Now, if you even look at the rod contents itself, how it's actually manufactured, you can see that it's a molded piece of steel that's then machined to make it look pretty and sexy and everything like that. But if you look at the innards, it's just not a great piece of metal, and it's constructed poorly. With that notch, you've created an extra breaking point, a weak point, and what I think happened, impossible for me to know for sure because it's inside the axle housing, but in my 10 minutes, and I'm not exaggerating, in fact, look at pictures of my rig after the ride, just a couple small scratches. The axles look half new, don't they? Or almost brand new. At any rate, when I got it back, obviously I broke it. As you can see, I had a free spinning tire. And to make a long story short, disassembled it, found it like this, with the clip actually still in place, but the actual metal broken right there where the edge of the notch and the actual rod meets itself. And so then I went to go look for a replacement. Hey, the good news is these rods, for a pair of them, are $30. They're not expensive, which is great. Went out to my guys over at A-Main Hobby in Chico. Love those guys. Just a quick shout out for them because they've done some awesome stuff and they've taken care of me. However, out of stock. Or in fact, with A-Main, they actually didn't carry the rear rods. They had the fronts, but no rears. So I went over to another hobby shop. They were out of stock. Went to a third hobby shop. They were out of stock. Went to my local hobby shop. They don't even stock it. The reality is it's a proprietary part. Now, not to say that you can't find it on Amazon from some seller. In fact, I could have gotten it directly from RC four-wheel drive. The problem is that I thought my thought process going through that was, do I really want? I mean, I'm going to have to buy a bunch of these, have them in my kit in case I'm crawling, but they were in so high demand that they were almost impossible for me to find. So how do I fix my rig? And the thing is about this that you should know is you can't. It is a proprietary rod, and there's nothing that you can do. You can't buy multiple parts and try to construct something together. I suppose if you're a welder and you're a machinist, you could probably make one on your own with some high level of effort. Wouldn't be cost effective, but the bottom line is you just can't replace this, and the axles have to work as a pair. So you can't just take it off and strap on another axle. You actually have to take both off. So you have 4 axle rods to contend with that are all proprietary, which means you're carrying a lot of extra parts. So at the end of the day, the C-clip design, not so good. Didn't hold up to some light crawling. Will I still go back to RC four-wheel drive for parts? Of course, they've got some great stuff. Check out their site. Will I use this style of high clearance axle again? No, absolutely not. A portal axle even has more, I don't want to say customizability, but more ability to use aftermarket parts than this particular design. So while it looks awesome on the rig, while the housing itself is gorgeous and looks super quality, the workmanship, or not the workmanship, but the design oversight, I'm going to call it a design oversight, is just too much for me to bear. So I hope this review helps you. I didn't have a review like this to watch before I purchased it, so I made the mistake of doing it and then discovering that I kind of plus or minus wasted my money. At the end of the day, though, I hope this review helped you. Thanks a bunch, and take care. Happy crawling.